From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 28th, 2025. In response to recent repeated ballistic missile attacks by the Houthis in Yemen at Israel, including 2 just early yesterday, the IDF said today that it struck the main airport in Sana'a, hitting aircraft used by the Houthi terrorist organization for the transfer of terrorists who planned terrorist attacks against Israel. The IDF saying the main airport of Sana'a is continuously operated by the Houthi terrorist regime for terror purposes, and that the IDF is determined to continue to operate against any threat to Israeli civilians wherever necessary. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said today of the Israeli response, "We work according to a simple rule. Whoever harms us, we harm them. Whoever does not understand this with force will now understand it with greater force." But as I have said more than once, the Houthis are only the symptom. The main driving force behind them is Iran, which is responsible for the aggression emanating from Yemen. And the IDF continues its operations in Gaza, saying today that the Air Force has hit dozens of targets throughout the Gaza Strip over the past 48 hours, eliminating anti-tank positions, weapons depots, and other terrorist infrastructure, as well as terrorists. The IDF also shared operational documentation, it said, of its mobile forward facility for triage and treatment of the wounded in southern Syria, carried out, it wrote, alongside the mission of protecting the residents of the Golan Heights. A new report on anti-Semitism by the Voice of the People, a global initiative launched by Israeli President Isaac Herzog, was released. The Times of Israel reported the survey of over 10,000 Jews in more than a dozen countries found that 76% of respondents identify rising anti-Semitism as their top concern. Citing CEO of Voice of the People, Shirel Dagan-Levy, saying this is not just a data set, it's a global Jewish reality check. The findings reflect a community that is hurting, but also more united than ever in its desire to stand tall, protect its heritage, and shape a stronger, safer future. Delegates from some 40 countries around the world gathered in Jerusalem today for the Foreign Ministers' Conference on Combating Anti-Semitism, organized by Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar and Israel's Foreign Ministry, the first major public event of Israel's year-long presidency of the IHRA, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. The Foreign Ministry shared a video message to the conference by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, where he spoke of the tragic murders last week of Yaron Lischinsky and Sarah Lynn Milgrim in D.C. A grim reminder, the Foreign Ministry wrote, of the dangers of anti-Semitism and anti-Israel violence, for which there can be no tolerance.
There can be no nuanced separation of hatred of Israel and hatred of the Jewish people. Those who called to boycott Israel are calling for the boycott of their Jewish neighbors and classmates. Those who call for violence against Israelis are calling for violence against Jews. Those who call for the destruction of Israel are calling for the destruction of the Jewish people.
During the conference, the parents of hostage Alon Ohel, who is also a pianist, presented a yellow piano, a symbol, the Foreign Ministry wrote, of Alon's music that still waits to be heard, in the presence of ministers and international representatives. A reminder that we will not stop, the Foreign Ministry wrote, not until Alon and every last hostage is finally home. Well, today marks 600 days of captivity for the 58 hostages who are still being held captive by terror group Hamas in Gaza. And thousands took part in rallies across the country today, as well as vigils and symbols seen across Israel to mark the unthinkable milestone and to repeat the call to bring them all home. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, May the 28th at 7 o'clock. David Harris discusses the tragic killings of Sarah Milgrim and Yaron Lischinsky, as well as how to proceed with an October 8th playbook for how to tackle anti-Semitism and all of the issues plaguing world Jewry today. At 7:30, Israeli diplomat Ambassador Ido Aharoni answers questions and takes us behind the scenes into the thinking and actions of government, business leaders, and the Israeli public. At 9, Shai Held is on the Chaim. At 10, it's the ILTV's Insider. At 10:30, an encore of the news. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 28th, 2025. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.